All right, so back today with the world map, global map of ancient Egypt. Um, so I think this is the more complete photo of it that I found yesterday. Um, and where is this? So these are two images of the same thing. This one I just changed the color to see if it would help discern some of it better. This is from a different photo. Um, so this is America. This seems to be Egypt, and this seems to be like the Middle East. And this, well, these boxes here are probably large islands, either, probably in Southeast Asia, I'm guessing, because, I mean, they could be like Japan or Korea or something, but, or wait, is Korea an island? I don't know, sorry. But I think they're larger. They're probably like, Java, maybe Java and Papua and um, I'm not sure if Australia itself is included or not. Maybe this shape could be Australia. Um, but anyway, like this is so this is an ancient Egyptian map from the Book of Two Ways. This is from the coffin of uh, the steward, probably the steward to the nomarch of that province, or steward for that nomarchical house. His name was Sen, Sen. I have one website that might say Seni, but going with Sen. The British. This is held at the British Museum. Um, so there's about like 30, so at least 30 of these coffin maps in like that have been excavated and everything. Um, Nobody, to my knowledge, had figured out what they were. I did meet one person who did believe that they were a guide to going to America, but he didn't. He was kind of looking at it a different way. But I think I'm the first that I've heard of that's actually identified these, this as America. But I had learned it from Indian people. That the underworld is America. Like they call it Patala. In India, they call it Patala. And then maybe Naraka. It seems like Naraka might refer to just South America. I'm not sure, but I think Patala probably includes both. Anyway, so that's how that's how I knew where to look. So when I found it, I was already looking for it. Because these are described as underworld maps. Like this is described as the underworld. The Duat, the Aker, the Amentet Neferet, the beautiful West, place where the sun goes at night. So I mean, seems that this is Egypt. That this is a line running through the Sinai. Let me see if I can find. I recently went to the UC Santa Cruz Library because it was the only way I could view. It's somehow impossible online to access Ptolemy's geography, which is strange since I think it's like basically the foundational book of geography. And But anyway, so I went to UCSC and they let me use it, check it out, or like look at it on their computers there. So it basically gives longitude and stuff, like coordinates for different places. So it says the southern limit of the known world. So this is a mistranslation. It's not, I don't believe it's referring to the known world. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is an exact translation, but it certainly is not like, was not literally, I don't think it could have been at all literally believed. So what Ptolemy did, I think, is the same as these books of two ways, these coffin texts. And I think that his geography is based on these books of two ways. It's either based directly on them or it's based on the same thing that they're based on. Because he places, let's see, where's the cursor here? The southern limit of the known world is bounded by the parallel 16 and 1/12 south of the equator, such that the great circle is 360. This is the same number of degrees by which the parallel through Meroe is north of the equator. So Meroe is like in Sudan, southern Nile. The northern limit is bounded by the parallel 63 north of the equator and is drawn through the island of Thule, or I'm not sure how it's pronounced, I guess Thule. So Thule, I believe, is Iceland, or I don't know. It's generally thought to be Iceland. I suppose, I think there may be some that have said that it's actually Greenland. I don't know. So it's probably one or the other. Hence the known latitudinal dimension of the Oikimene, which means this world that he's referring to. I think it basically means the realm, like their realm, like their home realm, is 90, 79, and 112 something. I think these might be, I don't know if it's stadia or what are these measurements, or in round numbers 80, which is approximately 40,000 stades. Yeah, I think it's like that, stades. Oh, okay. So this must be a larger denomination than stadia. This is probably some, yeah. Or the assumption that 1 degree contains 500 stades. Yada, yada. There, the whole Earth contains a perimeter of 180,000 stades. Again, the eastern limit of the the known world. And again, this is, I think, probably a mistranslation of this word, oikomene. The eastern limit of the known world is bounded by the meridian drawn through the metropolis of the Sinai. So, like this is just, like this kind of disproves, or, certainly throws into a lot of doubt this translation of the known world, because he's saying that the known world, oh my God, Oreo, go away. Sorry, the cat's crazy. So the known world, the eastern limit of the known world, like he's saying that to read this literally, you would have to be you would have to believe that that like the Sinai is part of Egypt. Okay. Ptolemy was Egyptian, I mean, he was Roman and maybe Greek too somehow, but he was also Egyptian. He had an Egyptian name, lived in Egypt, and and he, you know, was, I think, I don't know if he was a librarian at Alexandria but anyway, he was very knowledgeable, and especially about geography. And to think that he only knew about the world up until the Sinai. I mean, I guess there's a chance that they have the wrong thing when they say the Sinai, but I mean, I suppose that's a possibility that this is mistranslated. But certainly, if this means the Sinai, it's like impossible, like for the Sinai and things east of it to not be part of the known world. That's like saying that, you know, that the Canaan and, you know, Iraq and whatever were not known by the Egyptians, which is absurd because they were, if anything, probably better known by the Egyptians than was Europe, or, you know, I mean, of course he was European as well, but he had access to all of the Egyptian knowledge. And so anyway, so he says, the eastern limit of the known world is bounded by the metropolis of the Sinai. I'm not sure where the metropolis is, but somewhere in the Sinai, which is 119.5 on the equator, or approximately 8 equinoctial hours east of the meridian drawn through Alexandria. So again, there is a chance that somehow the Sinai, I don't know, something's wrong here. Like, and this is the most up-to-date translation. This is from 2000. So I don't know what this is supposed to mean. It's saying that the equator, it's approximately 8 equinoctial hours east of the meridian drawn through Alexandria. And what I think equinoctial hours are is basically if the planet was a clock, then like each hour on the clock would be an hour. So it's saying it's that, you know, 8 hours, that would be, well, no, I think it would be like if the planet were a clock, but instead of 12 hours, it had 24 hours. So 8 hours would be, you know, a good chunk of that. And so like third, what is it, 8 times 3, 24? I don't know. But equinoctial hours east, the western limit of the quote-unquote known world, the Ecumene, is bounded by the meridian drawn through the islands of the Blessed, which is 60.5 or 4 equinoctial hours from the meridian through Alexandria. It is thus i.e. 180. Oh, I guess this is a degree mark. Okay, yeah, see, I don't know about geography. I guess that just means degrees. Okay, so i.e. a semicircle, or 12 equinoctial hours from the most eastern meridian. So it's like, hence the known longitudinal dimension of the, so this doesn't make sense entirely, because it's saying that there's 8 equinoctial hours between Egypt and Egypt, Sinai and Alexandria, which are really like on a globe, they're just like an inch away from each other. Is saying that they are 8 hours apart, or that the Alexandria, yeah, that the Sinai is 8 hours east of Alexandria, Whereas he's saying that the islands of the blessed, which are America, it's the ancient Greek name for America, but most modern geographers interpret it as the Canary Islands. But if it was the Canary Isle, even if it was the Canary Islands, it would still be much further from Alexandria than the Sinai is. So I don't know what to make of this sentence, which is yada yada, or this, which is the western limit is bounded by the meridian drawn through the islands of the blessed, America, which is 60.5 degrees or 4 equinoctial hours from the meridian drawn through Alexandria. It is thus 180, i.e. a hemicircle. So I don't know if it might be that they're counting the hours backwards is the only way I can think. And somehow less hours means more distance. I don't understand that. But all I can say is that this part says, the western limit is bounded by the meridian drawn through the Isles of the Blessed. So that's this this line, this red line right here that runs through that. And see if I can get a good I don't know. Okay. I'm just getting like a different, more standard version of the Book of Two Ways, because this world map is very strange. It's, other than in most of the books of Two Ways, only America is illustrated. And in some, some are like Ptolemy's geography, where there's no illustrations and it's only text, just delineating different places. But, most of them do at least illustrate America, and then the rest of it is just text. But from this one, we can figure out that even the rest of it, which is usually text, is also a map, just like Ptolemy's map is entirely text, which already was, I think I already basically knew that, because in the text itself is largely identical to the text found in the map. So there's a lot of labels as like basically place names throughout, the different parts of the coffin bottom. So yeah, it was just, and especially with the fact that some of them don't even have this and yet still have the text for it, it seemed clear that you have a much larger map than just America. And especially the fact that I think it was somewhere down here, it mentions Egypt specifically, and it's basically describing places in Egypt. So, that's probably the main one that I could actually recognize based on the names used, even though it does use outdated, kind of archaic names for places in Egypt. But it's at least, still a few people still know the meaning of those names, like Rosetta as a name for Giza is, down here somewhere. There's a lot of references to the roads of Rosetta. So I think Rosetta is kind of the starting point of this journey, and then I don't know. But it's all about going around the world like forever and knowing every place in the planet. But the strange thing they did here is they turned the, this, first of all, they made the East Coast even like weirder than it is already, because here's the East Coast. You can see the Hudson Bay, you can see what might be Greenland there, Florida here, the Yucatan, and then like on this side, this is Canada, like sloping up northwest towards Alaska, and then this is like where the US is. This is where Baja California, Gulf of California, this is Western Mexico, and here it shows like a river, the Rio Grande de Santiago there. And this here's clearly the Isthmus of Panama, and but over here, I mean, they did get right the fact that it does slope south on the west coast, and it actually goes kind of north a bit, or it's like the east coast of South America is kind of more perky that way. I mean, it's not really this shape, but and the bottom of it they mixed up based on an earlier map that was deliberately flipped east to west, that they didn't know to unflip it. And so that's the same thing that's happened here, where instead of flipping the map east to west, what they've done is just flipped half of the map north to south. And again, I'm not exactly sure why they did it, but there might be a reason. Probably was a reason, but because this is like Hudson Bay, this is Canada here. And again, this is even kind of worse than the original. But this is South America here, like this is like Peru or Ecuador or something. And then this is the coast of sloping to Alaska. So they, for some reason, switched. You can always know which is the East Coast and West Coast, because the East Coast is always black lines and the West Coast is blue lines. And this was based on this idea that the sun kind of dies in the sunset and is reborn and then shines again. But okay, I think it's about to cut me off, but I think if I'm reading this, at least the part here that says it is thus 180 a semicircle, or 12 equinoctial hours from the most eastern meridian. So it's saying that, I think that he's saying that the Isles of the Blessed, like this whole world between America and the Sinai, the metropolis of the Sinai, is 12 equinoctial hours, and it's 180 degrees. 180 degrees a semicircle. So it's half the Earth, half the planet. And so that is absolutely true. Like the Sinai is the antipode of America, basically. So if you, at least longitudinally speaking, that's basically our antipode. I mean, you can, I don't know where exactly they decided was the center of America, or how they, I'm sure that was somewhat imaginative, but it could have been based on something very specific as well. But it's saying, so it's saying clearly it's not like the Canary Islands that modern geographers think it is. Clearly it's America. It's halfway across the planet. And you know, there's some people who have actually made maps based on Ptolemy's map. So this one is using his coordinates to make an actual physical map. And so this is the Sinai here, and this is Africa, like West Africa. And then right here is, says, let's see, Insula Fortuna, I think, like that there says, yeah, Fortuna. So that's the Fortunate Isles. That's America. You know, it's not some little islands right on the coast there. It's across the ocean. And so anyway, here's a comparison to see how that compares, you know, to Brazil, which is there, you know, just across the ocean. And, you know, it was Plutarch who said that the Blessed Isles were 1,000 miles from West Africa, across the ocean. And so anyway, it's very clear that Ptolemy's map includes America. And, you know, the main mystery here is just what he's talking about Alexandria versus the Sinai. But he's certainly correct about the orientation of the Sinai vis-a-vis America. And it's no wonder that, you know, that modern geographers fall all over themselves trying to find explanations for this. You know, there's been multiple books just about like why doesn't the longitude make sense, because they're trying to use the Canary Islands, and it doesn't work. It'll never work because it's America. And if they knew any kind of Greek nomenclature, they would have known that it was the land across the ocean, the underworld. So anyway, that's my spiel, and I'll keep studying this. Oh, let me see if I can just, I do think that this may be the Eastern Mediterranean here, and that this line here might be the Red Sea. Because, and that, you know, that would be the Red Sea. And this would be like the eastern coast of Africa there. And then this line or whatever that thing might have to do with Madagascar. This I think might tie into, like, if this line, this, like, America has the prime meridian through it, but it might also kind of double as the ecliptic, and the ecliptic is, you know, also centers around like a northern, there's like the northern part of the ecliptic, which is meaningful in terms of constellations and like the precession of the equinox. So I think that also could be what this square represents, or this could just represent these 4 red lines combined or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that when he's saying that there's 180 degrees between the Sinai and the islands of the Blessed, that basically gives it away. Like, you know, yeah, it says here, these islands are usually equated with the Canary Islands. Yet another frequent identification is the archipelago of